Hello and welcome to Viking Park for round one of the 2019 Griffin Legal John Dent Cup. For Bar TV, I'm Ryan Murphy, taking you through all of the action of the Hans Superdry match of the round between the defending champions, the Tuggeranong Vikings and the Gungahlin Eagles. Vikings stormed their way to a 14th premiership last season, hammering Eagles in the preliminary final, but that was last year. And this year, every team is on a level playing field, and now the Eagles will feel they have every chance of pulling an upset at Viking Park today. I'm joined in the commentary box at Viking Park by Andrew Robinson. Andrew, how fitting it is, mate, to be here at the scene of the grand final where Vikings took home another premiership.
Yeah, absolutely. In round one, it's always an interesting day, but again, that's the benefit of Vikings and hosting the finals here. We do get that home ground advantage starting the season.
Bit of a new look to a champion side there, with some changes in the Viking side as we'll run down through it. At loosehead, Vunipola Fafita. At hooker, Sam Thomas. And rounding out the front row is Angus Wagner. In the locks, Darcy Swain, Luke Corcoran on debut for Vikings first grade today. In the back row, Michael Ogman-Hunt starts at 6 with Rhys Griffiths at 7 and Jamie Field going at number 8. In the halfbacks, a key battle here today. Ryan Lonergan starts at 9 with Noah Alessio partnering him at fly half. On the wings, Nick Murray, Ernest Suavai. In the centres, Jordan Jackson-Hope and Lenny Katau. And at fullback, top try scorer, top point scorer last year, Brennan Tuiki. And for the Eagles, Robert, they went on that big run last year and they're kind of an unknown quantity again themselves coming into this year, but a lot of talk that the Eagles might be right up there at the top at the end of things this year. What do you make of that side, mate, looking at it?
Yeah, I completely agree. The form that they finished last year in, besides probably that prelim match, there was a reason that they made it into the top 4. They had that horrific start, unfortunately, but yeah, managed to turn things around and they definitely earned it.
As you say, that preliminary final, it was a tough day for Eagles. That kind of took that big run to an end. It was 58-7 here, and Vikings probably their best performance of the year. Saved it for that preliminary final, went on, as you say, to win that grand final. We'll just run down through that Eagles side. At loosehead, Ray Dobson. He was the captain last year. He'll go again at loosehead alongside Alex Small and Tom Ross. Tom Ross, a local of Gungahlin, made his Brumbies debut this year. As we see, it's the Vikings coming onto the field. As we see the captain, Darcy Swain, coming into the fray alongside Vunipola Fafita. We'll keep going with the Eagles side. In the locks, JP Fanukitau and Jake Helgeson. McDougall medal winner last year, Jake Helgeson. In the back row, Jerome Brown at 7. Tamati Ioane at number 8. Jerome Brown, a Brumbies player and someone who's coming over here, not really known for the local scene, but someone that has a bit of a rep coming with him, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely, and the opportunities he's gotten so far, especially in some of the Brumby Runners games, he's really impressed. Again, especially the local community that haven't known him too well.
And in the backs, Joel Atkins starts at 9 alongside Faranui Huera. It'll be a big day for Joel Atkins, coming up from school grade, making his first grade debut for Gungahlin, but he'll have a bit of support there with Faranui Huera, Brumbies player, of course, at 10. On the wings are the Duffy brothers, Jackson and Luke. In the centres, Josh Gillard and Matt Hawke. Josh Gillard handed the captaincy, of course, in his first full year with the Gungahlin Eagles. And at fullback, the precocious talent of Mac Hansen will... It's tough to know. When Mac is on, he's going to be one of the best players on the park, so we'll see how Mac goes. What do we reckon today? What are the keys for both sides here? Andrew, for Vikings, it'll be a testing game, I think, given that they're the defending champions. They'll be the hunted this year.
Yeah, that's been something we've spoken about quite a fair bit in pre-season as well. Everyone knows, especially coming in as defending premiers, that everyone's going to be chasing us, trying to change things, chancing their arm that little bit more. And again, round one, who else rather than Gungahlin, coming back for a bit of redemption more than anything else as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a number of key battles out there, I reckon, Andrew. And we keep coming back to that back row battle, I think, mate. That there's a real quality look there, I think, from both sides. But probably Gungahlin shading things on paper, I think. Yeah,
definitely. The back row is always a good battle. I think that's one of the key qualities of John Dent Cup. Most teams are able to field a 6-7-8 that is quite competitive regardless. But yeah, you look at that, Jerome Brown especially at number 7 for Gungahlin. If he's in his typical form, I think he'll be an absolute menace for everyone.
Absolutely, and we'll likely see him for the rest of the year. Not sure how much time we'll see him at Brumbies, but Tamati Ioane as well, apparently. All the word out of Gungahlin is that this number 8 is an absolute live wire, so we'll see. It's his first first grade game in the John O'Dent Cup, as we see the Eagles led out by Josh Gillard. They'll be looking for a bit of redemption, as you said, Andrew. It went all the Vikings' way last year. In round 2, Vikings got up 66-22 in Gungahlin in close. It was a bit of a tougher test then for Vikings, 31-21. But as we said before, in the preliminary final, 58-7. A magical day here for Vikings when everything seemed to go right. And I think one of the guys that day, Michael Ockman, he'll have a big part to play dealing with Jerome Brown and Helgeson and Ioane, as we said. And here to get things underway is the grand final man of the match, Noel Alessio. Goes longs to get things started, and there he is, Atkins, making his debut. Tips it off to Ioane, and it's a big, strong carry to get his John O'Dent career going. Gets Gungahlin on the front foot. Here's Brown. Good carry to get his Gungahlin career started as well, as they look to exit through Huera. Didn't get everything of that, and it gives Tuwiki a chance to counter. Speculative kick from Alessio, and it's found for Nuki Tau. Eagles now with a bit of a beachhead in the Vikings half. And advantage to come. Hansen in a bit of space. Advantage coming for Eagles for offside from the Vikings. Atkins. Off to Ioane. It's another strong carry from the debutant. Huera. Feeds for Nuki Tau in a bit of space, and he's in behind. He's found Atkins. Just brought down short, 5 metres from the Vikings line. They go through quick through Ross. Huera steps one. Advantage coming for Gungahlin. Hansen with the ball. Dobson going back, looks to offload, but it's just gone too far. Penalty coming for the Eagles. Fast start from the visitors here, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, you've already mentioned Ioane twice there, 2 very dominant tackles. I think Vikings just need to hold their shape a bit more there in defence. It's just a little bit shaky, but that's as you'd expect. Nerves coming into round 1.
Yeah, it's a great point from you, Andrew, that this round in particular, anything can happen because these teams are all still trying to find their cohesion together, and we definitely saw that with Nuki Tau going straight through the middle there, but it was a fantastic pass. I think it was from Huera to find him in a bit of space, but Vikings do recover well in defence there, but do unfortunately give away a penalty. So it's a chance for Huera here to add the first points of the game off the boot. Gee, Ioane looked good there though. That's 2 strong carries from the new man, and took some stopping, and there's a couple of those guys out there for Gungahlin. That'll be a feature of their game, I think. Jake Helgeson, he'll be milling around, but it'll be more the likes of Nuki Tau and Ioane, as we've already seen Jerome Brown trying to get over the gain line. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's going to come, as you've already seen, it's taken 2 or 3 defenders to bring them down to start with. So, again, I think that'll just be a key thing of the Vikings' defence. They just need to hold that shape, just to get that effective defence.
For Vikings, who's the guy on that side, Andrew, as we see Huera convert the penalty into 3 points, 3-0 after 3 minutes here at Viking Park to Gungahlin. Who are some of the guys, Andrew, in here who are going to target the ball there? Because we don't, not a traditional 7, we would say, in that side, with Reece Griffith being more of a blindside flanker.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to probably come from Michael Ockman a bit more. He's going to have to do a bit more of that sort of roving job rather than just sticking to that typical number 6. But again, I think it's just going to come, especially through that entire back row. They're just going to have to work out the best system for them. Obviously, not my specialty.
I've seen you get over the ball a few times, Robbo, in the centres.
A little bit wider, yeah.
For those listening at home, Andrew, obviously a very experienced first grade player, NRC player. So while he might be been a bit modest there, he knows his way around a breakdown. As we see Vikings trying to get into their shape, but do knock on. That's Corcoran, got a inside ball and just couldn't hang on as we get our first scrum of the day. And Andrew, another area that you might not be as familiar with, but this is going to be an absolute epic battle, I can tell you that for sure. Vunipola Fafita versus Tom Ross, Brumby's teammates. Vuni came down here for the NRC, really strong player, and what kind of impression has he made on the club so far, mate?
Oh, he's been fantastic. The few times he's managed to get down after Brumby's training as well, straight away looking to get involved, get around the boys around the club.
He's a real bubbly kind of guy, isn't he? Yeah, he's a great guy, Vuni, and he's a fantastic prop, fantastic young prop. He's got some junior Wallaby experience, and Tom Ross similar. Yep. One of those guys that I think one of the the guys that everyone around ACT club rugby has
absolutely.
a soft spot for Rossi, and he's only growing as a player. So we see that's a real strong battle. And then on the other side, Ray Dobson, known for being one of the attacking loose heads of the comp, and his battle with Wagner will be fascinating.
Absolutely.
But as you say, it's all the platform for the attacking rugby. And we see here now Huera lining up with Gillard and Hawke, and they're looking to work a bit of a short, not a short side here, but there's plenty of space out there on the left for Mac Hansen to attack should they go left, but they'll probably go right here with Duffy hanging on the right-hand touchline.
Yeah, I think they'll look to try to... I think this is actually Mac on the open side here in the white headgear.
Oh, yeah, this is...
If they get him into some space early on, that could be a bit of trouble.
You're not wrong. That's Jackson Duffy hanging out there on the left wing. I'll have to note that. Two similar-looking headgears there. Mac's the cleaner one. Yes, Noel Alessio, Jordan Jackson-Hope, Lenny Cattell. Brumby's trio there, 10, 12, 13. They'll be key in attack for Vikings, but they'll have to show up in defence here. We see Matt Hawke at 13, one of the best ball runners in the competition. It's a good platform from Eagles. Just fishing for the ball is Atkins. Good delivery to Huera. As we see, Huera looks for space with a bit of a probing kick. Ball running. And it does hold up, so it'll be a Vikings 22-metre dropout. What do you think of the option there off a decent platform on the halfway there, Andrew?
You can see the intent, especially using the wind. You might not be able to see it actually on the screen. There's a few flags in the background, but it actually is blowing quite a gale down there. So I think the intent's just to purely turn Vikings around, get them moving early, try to wear them down a little bit more.
Absolutely, as we see Vikings try to do the same. It's a great 22-metre from Lalesio, but Hansen returns the favour, and that one's found a good touch on the touchline below us here, and things have settled down a little bit, Andrew, after that fantastic start from Gungahlin.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just a couple of minor mistakes here have just stopped that momentum suddenly. But again, it'll sort of just be who can build on the next couple of phases, I think.
So see, they go to the back with Corcoran. It's a great take there from the young lock. The Vikings look to work the maul. They're breaking out here with Jamie Field. Field, a Colts player himself, former Colts player, and a standout performer last year as they go wide for Hope, through Jackson Hope. And Lenny Cattell turns on the bit of the footwork and a bit of space, bit of pace, and gets over the gain line. Swain receives and bumps out the back to Lalesio and finds Wagner, but just doesn't go to hand. And Eagles can now counter-attack, but there's been a little bit of a knock-on. We'll have another scrum. As you saw, we got our first glimpse of Lenny Cattell there, one of the guys coming into the competition this year who I reckon could have a real big impact on the competition this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, from all reports on the Brumbies boys, he's had a fantastic pre-season with Brahms. Again, played some fantastic footy in the runners games. And again, the ball carry is his go-to sort of move. So I think Matt Hawke should be a little bit worried about, especially the pace. Unfortunately for Hawke, he does love the short runners.
Shots fired. That's
playing with experience, unfortunately. He knows
absolutely.
it as well.
It's an interesting battle, those two, because they're kind of the two different styles of a 13,
absolutely.
really. Len being that kind of traditional, from my home country, I might say Brian O'Driscoll, that type. As you see Huera go quick off the free kick. He's gone wide to Duffy, and he'll be put out to touch by Suavai. Good intent there from Eagles, but just perhaps not playing the smart football just yet, trying too hard. But as we go back to that 13 battle, Matt Hawke being that strong ball runner. Yeah. And it'll be a test for both, as you say. It'll be definitely a test for Hawke in defence with Ekateo probing, as we saw there as they go again. Vikings line out, working really well. And Jackson Hope takes a big collision from his opposite number, Gillard. And Vikings looking to get into their patterns. Here's that man, Ekateo again. Hawke stands the test this time, makes a good tackle on the young 13. But he's given away a penalty, making himself busy at the breakdown as he does, Matt Hawke. Swain over the ground line. Places and goes again, so that's okay. Lonergan finds Alessio, who puts a nice ball out to Hope, and he's found Suavai on the right wing. Bit of space now for Ernest Suavai, and he cuts back inside. Vikings getting through their patterns a bit more now. Here's Fafita. Strong carry from Fafita. Nothing doing there for Vikings. We'll come back for the penalty. Much better from the Vikings there, getting into a few patterns, Andrew.
Yeah, I think Scrum will be quite happy that they're actually just getting a few phases there, a bit of continuity more than anything else.
You mentioned Griffin is in his second year at the club now. As we spoke a bit in the season launch the other day, but feels a little bit more comfortable with the competition as a whole. What have you made of him, mate, in his year and what are we on 10 minutes so far?
Yeah, no, Scoof, he's a quick learner. You know, he wouldn't have gotten to where he is without that. So, I mean, he's adapted quite well, especially coming back from Japan. So coming back into that sort of club feel rather than anything else.
Very experienced, of course.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that most boys have taken away, you know, he demands that high execution rate, especially at training. So hopefully that translates over into the rugby.
As we see Vikings Mall going to deck, but absolutely, yeah, that execution being a hallmark of Vikings premiership last year, but not so far during this game, as we see a few handling errors there from Vikings, but did have advantage coming. Kickable here for, well, imagine Ryan Lonergan probably have the kicking duties we'll see so far, but Vikings making their intentions known, going to the corner here through Lalesio, and that's just won't find the 5 metre, unfortunately, for Noah Lalesio. Looking for a little bit too much there.
Yeah, I'm probably just trying to read the wind a little bit too much than it did, but yeah, just coach killer those ones, unfortunately.
Absolutely, and you did mention before, and it's a great point, that there's a swirling wind below us here at Viking Park, and it will come into play. I don't think it's favouring anyone so far.
No, as you say,
probably it's swirling. It's just one of those ones where everyone's going to have to deal with that there, but yeah, fascinating first 10 minutes here. Eagles, of course, had that good start, but starting to see the quality of the Vikings coming through.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of nerves starting to ease their way out, I think, as well, more than anything else. But you can see the intent from both teams. Eagles quite aggressive on that defensive line. Hawera at 10, and then Matt Hawke at that last line out as well.
So you see, that's a big scrum from Vikings. Atkins has to bury his way, and he's done really well, the young halfback. Gets to his knees there, so that'll be a tackle. Vikings will have to release. Gillard goes back to Hansen. He steps. He's been swallowed up there by Kitao, but still safe possession for Gungahlin. Hawera pops in. He was in the pocket there, but under pressure from Lonergan. Gets a decent kick, but this is a great opportunity for Tiki. As you say, Robson, there's heaps of space out here for Twiki as he drifts down the left, but he's still going. Oh, that's a big shot from Ioane. Welcome to 2019 for the top try scorer and top point scorer, Brendan Tweaky, but it's a great counter-attack, and that's absolutely brilliant from Ryan Lonergan. Bit of the dark arts from Ryan Lonergan there.
Unfortunately, you got to use them when you need to.
It's maybe not the prettiest thing, and maybe not in the best spirit, but gotta love to see that from a young halfback. That's just showing his experience now, coming into his own as a halfback. And we talked a bit before about the breakdown battle, but if Ryan Lonergan can really establish himself in this game as the more experienced player there, as a Brumby and as a junior Wallaby captain and as a premiership winning halfback, it's going to really make a difference here for Vikings. And we see there a little bit of trickery, and now Vikings have another shot to go to the corner.
Yeah, exactly, and just piling on that pressure is more than anything else. As you say, Ryan actually using that experience at still such a young age. It'll be a key thing for Vikings for today.
He's not your typical talker, is Ryan, is he? He's not the halfbacks, as we know, love to chat. Yeah. But Ryan's more of a doer, more of a
absolutely
lead by example type guy. He's such an asset at this level to have a guy that can really control a game there with Noah, and he'll take a bit of pressure off Noah at 10 there and probably let him just play his own game, which is such an asset for Viking. As we see, they go to the maul. Hasn't given them much fruit yet, but that's a great set from Vikings. Advantage coming, so this will be a free play for Tuggeranong. Lonergan setting up field there, and the young back row is absolutely whacked again from Ioane, but we're not sure if that one was necessarily legal there.
Yeah.
Referees today. Matthew Hogan in the middle there with Rob White and Reece Henshaw, his assistants on the day, and don't have our ref's ears today, but I imagine
yellow
where
card.
we go. He's been everywhere, has Ioane. He's certainly made his presence felt on the John O'Dent Cup so far, but that's probably the wrong presence, a little bit over eager, and probably rightly sent to the bin there for a high shot.
Yeah, it's something the referees have really put the foot down, especially the last 12 months as well. It's just that head safety more than anything else. So again, unfortunate, but justified.
Yeah, probably not malicious there, but just probably mistimed and miscued there. But gee, he likes to put himself a bet, does this Tamati Ioane. I think he's a name that we'll be hearing plenty of this year. Now, these are big minutes for Gungahlin. Down to 14. Defensive scrum, and for Vikings, they've got to turn this pressure into points now. Andrew, you reckon?
Yeah, completely agree. Eagles already got that 3 points on the board, so something here is absolutely critical.
Lonergan finds Alessio, and he's gone all the way wide to Suva. It's a one-on-one, and he makes no mistake. An absolutely great try from the Vikings. Well, it was Alessio who threw the ball, just knew it'd be in a bit of space there, and Suvai versus Hansen. Mac did his best there to cut his tree, but Suvai, great finish in the corner, Andrew.
Yeah, Ernest is just a big body as well. You've got to get up on him quickly to be able to shut him down, and again, when you're working in 2 or 3 metres work of space, it's pretty hard to do.
Well, we spoke just before the scrum that they probably had to get something going, given that it's been a bit of a quiet start from the champions, but now with that man advantage and on top on the scoreboard, this could be the start of more of what we were expecting from the quality side. Celebrating Ladies' Day, of course, today, Andrew.
Yes, it's not the best weather for them, but it's good to see some good numbers over there. From all reports, it's been pretty good.
Great setup there over at the Vikings Club.
Yeah, the licensed clubs have helped us out quite a bit this year. Normally we're a bit out more in the Red Army, but yeah, being able to utilise that outside area has been fantastic.
Yeah, it was a key score in terms of this game with 15 minutes gone, and we see Lonergan lining up a conversion on the right-hand side here. Absolutely superb off the boot, and was in the grand final last year, helping Vikings to a 14th premiership, as we said. As you see, just the effects of that win there, that's held straight up, so not a day for the kickers, but Vikings on top. Just saw Jackson Hope and Len Ikita's involvement in that try was crucial as well, taking that hard line, and as we see, we're seeing their influence growing there, those two in there at 12 and 13. Yeah,
and again, just holding up that defence, especially in that sort of shorter channels, opens up that space for Ernest Silva, as we said, was the scorer. Give him a few metres of space, and that's what he can do. And the presence of mind of Alessio to find him out wide. Exactly. And here is Alessio, looking to go wide out of their exit for Fita. Bumps it out the back to Jackson Hope, and he's found Ikitau. Bit of footwork from Ikitau, and he finds Hope. Jackson Hope over the gain line, and that is for Fita again. Couple of strong carries from the bookend there, and his prop mate is Wagner up the middle of the park. Good play from Vikings, getting out of their own territory. Alessio skips through a couple, and he's brought the Vikings into the Eagles' territory. Swain tips onto Wagner. Space out left here for Vikings if they can find it. There's Fafita again. Manages to offload to Griffiths, and he places the ball for Jackson Hope. Corcoran. Good settling carry for the young lock on his first grade debut. Alessio says that we'll get out of here, too much rugby in our own half, and he plugs corners, but just finds Hawera, and Hawera repays the favour, and that's a great kick from the Brumbies 10 in his Gungahlin Eagles colours today. Yeah, absolutely. Just relieves that bit of pressure there as well. You saw Vikings just starting to build a bit more of momentum there, so Eagles did quite well there to recover. Saw the influence Hawera had on the Eagles towards that tail end of the run last year, and probably he's one of the keys for them, but haven't seen much of Jerome Brown so far, as we see a fantastic take from Darcy Swain, but it has drifted a bit there, so it'll be a scrum Gungahlin, as we said before. Yeah, haven't seen much of Jerome Brown so far. His influence, still early days, as you say, but
Gungahlin will want to get him into the game a little bit more, and they'll have their chance here. Choosing to go to the line-out, which is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, using that wind, as we've already mentioned. But again, hopefully they execute.
See Helgeson in the middle there.
As you say, Jerome Brown leading up there for a carry off.
They go short to Stanley, but that's well read by Swain, and they've turned the ball over here, Vikings. Lonergan, Oakman Hunt. Lonergan just getting his troops into a bit of a wall so he can clear. But there's a penalty in there somewhere. I think that penalty is for what we were saying before, Andrew. That's a bit of blocking in there.
Yeah, okay.
Bit harsh there at the breakdown, do we think?
Oh, I mean, there wasn't too much clear vision there, so I mean, Hogues is there, probably in the best slot in the field.
We'll trust him. We'll trust him. But yeah, we saw Lonergan just trying to create a bit of a wall there to make his box kick a bit easier. But as it happens, he's given Gungahlin a absolute gift here, and they'll plug the corners through Huera. Lineout didn't quite go to plan before, a bit of trickery from Gungahlin, but expecting something a little bit more conventional this time, we think.
Yeah, oh, again, second chance. I'm assuming that they'll play something a little bit safer, just try to, again, hold on to a bit more possession.
Got a big body in there in Stanley, but they go to Helgeson. He's fanned for Nookie Tau, and they get them all going. Alex Small comes off the base and gets Gungahlin going forward. That's Helgeson. Leaves it for Stanley, who picks and drives. There's Ross. Only meters away now, Gungahlin. For Nookie Tau. Stopped at source, but it's another strong carry. Pounding at the Vikings line now are the Eagles. They go again through Ross. He plays it for Atkins and he gives it to Huera. Inches short now are Gungahlin, and they've scored! Pressure into points for the Eagles again, and there he is. Coming up from the deck, it's Jerome Brown.
We just spoke about him as well being a little bit quiet, but comes back to pay the price.
There it is. The reverse of the commentator's curse from us there, Andrew, and that's Jerome Brown's first try of his Gungahlin career. He's been in great form, as you said before, for the runners, and took him a little bit less time to get his first Brumbies try on the weekend against the Reds. If anyone was watching that, Jerome Brown got what we can only assume is the quickest Super Rugby try on debut after 6 seconds for the Brumbies, and he's back in the scoring books today. And they're the difference makers on days like this. Guys like that, the quality stepping up and just sneaking over for a really good try there, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely, and from those sort of efforts as well, it'll pick up the entire team. I'm not sure how much longer Eagles have got 14 men for, but again, being able to put on a try, especially a man down, is critical.
Absolutely, and to get parity here and perhaps even extend their advantage through Huera. And he makes no mistake there. So 10-5 to the Eagles after 20 minutes. And Robbo, we'll just take this time to thank our sponsors. Griffin Legal, our naming rights sponsor. Hans Superdry, our Match of the Round sponsor. Truffin Hill and PTP, our Man of the Match sponsor this year. So pretty good prize coming, whoever gets the Man of the Match here today. And also Rourke Projects, McDonald's, ACT, O'Neill's and Poplars. Can't do anything without our sponsors, so thank you so much to those. And of course, you are watching on Bar TV the Hans Superdry Match of the Round. Tuggeranong Vikings, the champions, taking on Gungahlin, and just over 20 minutes gone. Have to be happy if you're Gungahlin Eagles here, having weathered a bit of a storm. They did concede, but their heads didn't drop, and that's key for them and for Vikings, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bit of a mixed bag for Vikings?
Yeah, again, I think, as we spoke about before, it's more just about finding your feet early on. And again, there's been signs from both teams of that. And again, Gungahlin being able to put on points with a man down, it's just, it's that sort of thing that really hurts a team. In the case of Vikings, unfortunately.
Absolutely, and as you see,
Another
mistake there, and that this time it's Darcy Swain as Mac Hansen comes in to give him a bit of love. No doubt those two have been jawing at each other all week in training, and that's see Mac Hansen fire it up. I wouldn't be trying to fire up Darcy Swain too much if I was him, but as it is, it's a knock on and it's another chance for Gungahlin to attack. For Vikings, I think this is a crucial period now, as you said, with Ioane coming back onto the field and having maybe not got the advantage that they were expecting. Good test of their character here. As we said, they are the champions, but there is some new blood in there, in the likes of Fafita, and Thomas wasn't really part of the first grade setup as much last year. And yeah, they'll have to look to some leaders out there. Look to see Michael Oakman-Hunt stepping up. Darcy Swain, you say, making a mistake there, but he's been busy.
Yeah,
as Darcy Swain.
Yeah, and it's good, you know, there is a few blokes out there that do get the opportunity to put their hands up for later on in the season as well, potentially. Another one, Jamie Field today, you know, hasn't played a lot of time in first grade. But again, you know, has shown time and time again that he has the capabilities of Vikings just win a penalty.
Absolutely, stepping up, and if there's one area where Vikings are really starting to turn the screw, it's here at scrum time, and that'll be a big jihad now for that forwards. We see Ray Dobson asking Matthew Hogan how the off-season's been and just catching up there. No, that's a big psychological win there for Gungahlin. Tom Ross versus Vunipola Fafita. We talked about it at the first scrum time, and it seems to be happening on that opposite side. Angus Wagner doing some really good work at tight head there for Vikings, and that's a great touch finder from Noah Lalicio there.
Absolutely, he would have liked that one quite a bit after the early mistake.
Yeah, didn't quite look for the 5 this time.
No, just making sure he puts it out.
But he's a confident player, is Noah Lalicio. I don't think there'd be any fear in him, and we saw in the grand final last year a couple of really, you know, glaring mistakes early on. I remember him getting charged down by Sam Carter after a couple of minutes on the 22 here in Viking Park. But as we saw for the rest of the game, he showed out and was man of the match. So he doesn't get phased easily, does young Noah Lalicio, as we see Vikings in the Gungahlin 22 now, and that's for Fafita. A little bit high into contact, but there's some good leg drive and good support from his prop friend in Wagner. Ikitau bumps through one. Finds an offload to Lalicio. Lalecio's offload behind the back was absolutely beautiful, but it didn't quite go to hand, so Vikings have to reset here. Lonergan to Wagner. Strong line speed from Gungahlin, but not too sure about the tackle, but we'll continue through Lalicio, and he's put it through a little stabbing kick, but it is well mopped up by Mac Hansen. Again, Vikings trying to introduce some difference in play there, as we see Mac Hansen spotted an acre of space in behind. It's a foot race. Jamie Field, the first back for Vikings. And it's really well done by the number 8. He's done so well there, has the Vikings number 8, to get back after Hansen found an absolute acre of space there. Vikings not quite switched on at the 22 there, Andrew.
Yeah, just lacking a bit of urgency there. Just, as you said, a good look from Jamie Field and Nick Murray supporting there as well.
Yeah, they were certainly one of the only two to react, but thankfully for Vikings they did, and they have possession. And that's brilliant from Swain. Calf flap offload to Thomas, and he's through the gap. Fafita again. Plenty of carries from the loose head prop. Lonergan to Lalicio. And Jackson Hope now. Ball doesn't go to hand, but he's found Nick Murray, and they'll reset here. Huge shot in midfield from Matt Hawke. Nick Murray will be feeling that one until next week when we're at Jemison Oval, I think. Caught him clean. Swain. You've probably been on a few on the end of a few of those from Matt Hawke.
Unfortunately, he tells you about it as well.
Certainly never quiet on the field is Matt Hawke. He's one of the absolute characters and one of the best players in the competition is Matt Hawke. As we see Huera putting on a bit of footwork. Atkins gives it out to Ross, and that's a strong carry from the tight head. Atkins again to Gillard. The inside ball to Mac Hansen, but that's just drifted forward. Bit stagnant there from Gungahlin.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they had the option to go outside, but tried to change things up a little bit. Yeah, and again, you know, it's good to see chancing their arm, you know, throwing a few different options out there as well.
They certainly are. They're not always looking to plug corners, but probably a better option there might have been from Gillard to just get Gungahlin out of their own territory. But I have to say, Andrew, I've been pretty impressed with Joel Atkins so far. I think he's really stepped up. The young bloke out of Dara coming in and playing his first game for the club at first grade. That's a massive step up.
Oh, absolutely.
For a high school guy coming into his first game. That's to see him weathering the storm here, I think, because he's been under plenty of pressure, but he's doing well.
Yeah, I agree. The speed of delivery, especially to his backs, you know, I wouldn't imagine too many complaints coming from their end.
No, you can see why they've put the faith in him, haven't you? His quality of delivery is excellent. And he's been highly touted as a guy. I think he played some ACT schoolboys last year. He's a good talent, and I have to say, very impressed with his performance so far through 30 minutes of round one, the Griffin Legal John Dent Cup. Championship minutes, we're coming into those now. The ones we're round one, but these are the championship minutes. These are where games are won and lost, and Eagles will just be looking to get into half-time, I think. And for Vikings, if they can add another score here, they'll feel that even though they mightn't have given their best here in the first 40, that they're still right in it, and they might even go in slightly in front. So, yeah, very important.
Completely agree.
Next phase of this game. Better scrum from Gungahlin as we see Vikings starting to put on the pressure. Eagles stand up to the test though as Lonergan finds Tuiki. Ball's gone to deck. It's hacked through from Hawk, but just drifts a little bit as we see. Again, everyone's missing each other. We haven't seen each other in a bit. So Alex Small and Fafita and Wagner all just getting to know each other there. Great to see all the props getting to know each other.
Yeah, well, it's a front rower specialty, I'm pretty sure. Just a little bit of a gathering.
That's the front row union there. That's their first meeting of the season. But good defence there from Gungahlin, and Matt Hawk would have wanted that ball to stay in, I think. But as it is, there's a line out to Vikings, and that's been operating really well. Finding Corcoran at the tail all day long. Good spoiling at the maul though by the Eagles, and they've won themselves a scrum.
Yeah, excellent defence there. I think it was Stanley actually getting through there and disrupting that one.
He's a big body, is Tristan Stanley. As you see, got right over the top there. Another one of the newcomers to the Gungahlin Eagles this year. Word has it he fancies himself off the tee as well, Andrew. So I don't know if we'll get to see that today with Faranui Huera and Josh Gillard and the like, and Mac Hansen and the like. I don't know if they'll hand him the ball, but word is fancies himself off the tee. So a bit of a rarity there.
Reincarnation.
If he's anything like Johnny Eels, I think Gungahlin might have found themselves quite a player. You see. Nick Murray starting off quite far back here for Gungahlin, so decent short side from the to attack, but they go open for Huera. Takes it to the line, but that's a strong tackle. That's a strong tackle from Noah Alessio, and Vikings pile on the pressure at the breakdown. Referee Hogan was happy to let them play, but now finds his whistle and he gives a penalty to Gungahlin. What did you think happened there, Andrew? It was a good contest in there, but Vikings just a little bit overeager, perhaps?
Yeah, potentially, and just again looking to put that pressure on rather than thinking about their actual execution of it all. You saw a few blokes just being able to run in, just jumping on top more than anything else, trying to move a body or actually be effective at that breakdown.
I think one overarching thing we can say is that there's a bit of passion out there, to say the least, and it's going to be one of the interesting things to see in the second half and as we finish up this first half, if temperatures boil over as we go. But still plenty of football to play here at Viking Park. It's been a great day of footy with Vikings getting up in Colts 26-14 and threes 22-0 and a big win in fourth grade. But the curtain raiser in second grade, Eagles came away with a massive win as they go through Jackson Duffy. Bit of trickery at the line end, and Duffy gets over the gain line. Atkins gives it off to Finucane Town. He's beaten at source by Reese Griffiths. Brown absolutely hammered in the tackle from Lalesio. Here's Ioane, places and goes again. Oh ho ho! Welcome to first grade for Luke Corcoran. That's a massive, massive carry from Ioane. Corcoran's been excellent, but he'll feel that one as they go right through Hansen. Hansen, there's a bit of space. Hawk bumps off to Brown. Brown beats one, beats two.
Oh, not sure how he didn't get over there.
Not sure how he didn't score, but he's just short. Have they scored now? It's been called, held up. Looked like Brown was in for all money there, Robbo.
Oh, not sure how he didn't put it down.
Some great cover tackle from Vikings, and that's a huge moment in this game. That would have put Eagles up by 15-5, and that'd been a strong position going into the second half. But as it is, have another opportunity here. Big scrum. Good play there, Hansen through the right, down the right. And really good hands from Matt Hawke to find Brown, and just found himself in space, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Just
kind of opened up for him, didn't it?
Strong cover tackle. But yeah, just
Tweaky held him up there. I think it was Brendan Tweaky who managed to hold him up, and it's a better platform from Gungahlin. So it's been an area where if they've struggled anywhere, it's been at the scrum, but that's much better. Huera finds Hawke, and he's offloaded to Huera. Duffy gives it to Hansen. It's a foot race between Hansen and Tweaky, and Hansen has scored. What a try from Gungahlin Eagles. Brilliant interplay between Huera, Hawke. Got it back to Huera. And much like Vikings did in the first half, Huera found his winger. Duffy this time offloading to Hansen, who picked a beautiful line, Robbo, and just outraced Tweaky to get down that left-hand corner.
Yeah, and again, I think it comes back to Matt Hawke holding up that defence a bit more narrow, opens up that space, and again, Max definitely got some footwork and speed out there, and as you saw, just completely just outgassed Tweaky there, unfortunately.
Well, it's tough for Tweaky there because he's covering across. He's probably thought Duffy's going into contact, and two really good offloads from Gungahlin, you'd have to say, keeping the ball alive. And
yeah, great support play from both.
Absolutely, players. And it's a great start for Gungahlin here in Viking Park. I think there's been times when they've been second best in areas, but definitely getting the better of things at the breakdown and in the physical stuff, Robbo.
Yeah, and again, you know, that being able to play in that territory as well, you know, it does put all the pressure back on the Vikings. And as again, you know, that territory and possession comes into points.
Yes, turning pressure into points, and that's the thing, and that's probably an area where they could have done a little bit better to start the season, as we see an absolute gale starting to blow here at Viking Park. I'm starting to look a little bit like the end of the world here, mate. All of a sudden we've got wind, we've got rain, but that's it. Footy season's back.
Yeah, exactly.
So is the weather, as we see Lalesio. Oh, he's gone just too long there, has Lalesio. So Eagles get another chance to possibly extend their lead. As it is 15-5, Gungahlin Eagles in the first half of round one of the Griffin Legal John Dent Cup. Preliminary final rematch here at Viking Park, and things shaking up a little bit different than it did on that day, as it did all season. As we said before, Vikings certainly got the rub of things last year and looking a little bit rusty coming into their title defence. I think you'd probably have to say that's fair on this first 40 from the Vikings. A little bit rusty.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, unfortunately, it's one of the downsides of having so many Brumbies players available as well. It does sort of disjoint the team a little bit that's been at training consistently. But again, you're not going to say no to that sort of talent.
I was going to say, I don't think many tears to be shed for the talent at Vikings. But I have to agree with you that sometimes, especially in a club competition, you bring all these guys back and then everyone else says, okay, the Brumbies boys are here, they'll do it. Yeah, but it's a team effort. It doesn't matter. This competition's of a very high standard, and even the non-contracted boys out there put their hands up and would not pull any punches. So I have to agree with you, Robbo, that that's how it's looked for the Vikings, that they're trying to get through the combinations and just feel each other out. Better scrum for Gungahlin as Atkins finds Herrera. He'll put snow and rain and wind all over this ball. Well taken by Ikitau. Geez, he's done well there to find the ball in the sky, and he plucked it out with ease. Vikings just happy to rumble things here as we tick down to the end of the first half. Griffiths tries to get to Lalesio, and it's not gone to hand, but Lalesio cleans things up and finds contact. Lonergan goes to the box kick. Found a decent touch, but still one last attacking a chance for Gungahlin. Yeah, as you see, the elements coming into play as we thought they might,
yes,
Andrew, this morning, but it did hold off for most of the morning as we got lots of good football, lots of good weather, but that rain definitely starting to pour down now, and it's hard to know who that will benefit more, but certainly going to be an added factor for the rest of this half, the 30 seconds we've got left here, and for the second half to come.
Yeah, again, two very competitive forward packs will definitely come into play for that second half.
I think Herrera and Lalesio, as well as we see Herrera putting a little kick. The fly halves will definitely have their part to play. As Tweaky, clean work from the fullback there, mopping up from a testing kick from Herrera. Lonergan organises his forwards, and that's Wagner again. Vikings prop duo have been everywhere in this first half, really putting their hands up for plenty of work. The clock ticks to 0 here at Viking Park. Do Vikings look to attack from their 22 here? Do we reckon we'll see this ball put in the stands?
Goes one of two ways. I think they'll put it out here just to play it safe, but yeah, I mean, it could have been a good option just to try to build a bit more momentum or a bit more continuity going into half-time. So,
but as it is, a bit of an option there from Jackson Hope, and he just puts the ball out and brings the first half to a close here at Viking Park. At halftime, it's 15-5 to the visiting Eagles. Tries to Jerome Brown and Matt Hansen, plus a conversion and a penalty to Farinu Herrera. Sees the Gungahlin Eagles taking a 10-point advantage into the second half, and I don't think pre-match betting would have had that so far, but we've heard all pre-season that Gungahlin were a force this year, and they've certainly come in with their new coach, of course, Marco Caputo, who's someone we haven't really mentioned so far, but brand new coach in tow, and a really experienced one at that, and definitely seeing a different Gungahlin Eagle side, a more organised effort maybe, and one they're not dropping their heads as we saw when Suavai went over for the try. At that stage of the game, it seemed like Vikings were really starting to come back into things, Andrew. Yeah,
we highlighted that as a, vital time in the game as well, being a man down, it could have gone one of two ways, and they reacted quite well to it. Again, being able to turn that into points for themselves, and again, being able to add another try before halftime, they will be very happy going into halftime.
Absolutely, and we've got a fascinating half to come, I think, and for Bar TV, this is Ryan Murphy in the Hahn Superdry Match of the Rain. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Griffin Legal, Hahn Superdry, Rourke Projects, Truth and Hill, PTP, McDonald's, ACT, O'Neill's and Poplars for sponsoring our great competition here, and of course to Bar TV for the live stream. We'll be back for the second half shortly. It's 15-15 Gungahlin, all to play for here in the second half. Hello and welcome back to Viking Park for Griffin Legal John O'Dent Cup 2019 round 1 fixture between the Vikings and the Eagles, the defending champions, down at half time, and I'm joined by Vikings great Andrew Robinson. Andy, mate, bit of a weird half, up and down I think, and Vikings had their moments, but execution letting them down at times, you reckon?
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, again, at this point, I've mentioned it a few times already, you know, just round one's always a little bit scrappy. Everyone just trying to find their feet more than anything else. But yeah, I completely agree. A few just minor mistakes, a few coach killers, small things like that really impacting the game.
On the flip side, Gungahlin really turning pressure into points there at times through Jerome Brown and Mac Hansen. Particularly that second try was really clean work from the Gungahlin backline. And other than, I think, Viking scrum really turning the screw at times, and Eagles just holding on in that area. I think the red and black of Gungahlin have definitely got the better of things so far, but a big 40 to come here, Robbo, as we see Faranui Huera getting things underway. It's a great kick from Lenny Katau. That's a huge kick from Lenny Katau to start things off in the second half. That'll give his pack and the rest of his teammates plenty of G up now going into this second half.
Yeah, absolutely. All the entire Vikings team just got around him there. That's straight away just relieving that pressure from the kickoff.
Like to see that from Len as well. He's got a really good left foot when he wants to use it, and that's an area of his game that's only growing, as we see Helgo going off the top there to Atkins. Jerome Brown. Strong carry. Atkins finds Huera in the backfield, and he'll just look to plug corners. Goes directly to Nick Murray. Goes back inside to Twiki. Not a perfect kick there from Twiki, and Huera returns favour, putting an in-betweener to Lalesio. Who's going to win the kick tennis? Will Hansen be the one to counter? I think he might be. Gives a bit of a hitch, gives and goes. Looking to get on the outside of Ikatau, but good defensive work from his Brumbies teammate. Atkins just delays the pass slightly for Hawk. And Hawk was met with a big tackle from Darcy Swain. The physicals starting again in the second half as they were in the first. Here's that man, Tamati Ioane. Takes another couple to take him down. He's been absolutely excellent this first half. Did ship a yellow card, but in terms of ball carrying, he was excellent. Atkins to Huera, a little chip kick this time. That's really good work from Nick Murray to anticipate there. Vikings forward pack slowly to recover, and Lalesio thinks he's found a bit of space here, but that's good from Gillard. He's got plenty of time here, does the skipper. He's going to have a run. Instead elects to bomb down the field, and that's a really good kick from the former Warringah Rat. Twiki. Oh, that's a bit of a mental error there from the Vikings fullback. Thought he was inside, but he's gone directly into touch.
Yeah, unfortunately, foot on the line, he's outside, just like the sidelines. So, yeah, just a minor mistake there from Brendan.
We saw Helgeson point straight away. He knew, and I think the rest of Gungahlin knew, but that was a big kick from Twiki as well. That would have been another good position for Vikings, but now Gungahlin with a line out on the Vikings 22. But it's just been knocked on there from Helgeson. He's been featured in their lineup, but that was a tough one to take, I think. Vikings getting up well to just disrupt there at the line-out. Lonergan. Clean pass to Lalesio. Another booming kick from the young fly half, but he's found Luke Duffy this time. Not a great pass from Duffy, and Hansen has to recover. Drops it inside to Hawk.
A little bit isolated here, potentially.
Certainly was isolated, but he's done well to spin out of contact Wait for support. Numbers here for Gungahlin if they shift. Here's Jackson Duffy. Oh, he's whacked just as he was trying to pass the ball by Lena Katau. No one home here for Gungahlin if Vikings can see. You see Gillard starting to come across now. Swain. Good carry from the lock as Jackson Hope moves it wide to Lalesio. Here's Jamie Field working out in the channels.
It's a great carry.
Really good carry from Jamie Field. Good to see him getting on the ball. Strong ball carrier. Jackson Hope trying to test the Gungahlin defence there, but he's swallowed up by Ioane. Here's Fafita going backwards and he's dropped the ball. Here's Stanley now. Atkins to Huera. Thinks he's seen a bit of space, has Huera, and he has. Plenty of real estate there back in the Vikings 22. Murray to Jackson Hope. And that's a net gain there again for the Gungahlin Eagles.
Yeah, again, just keeping in this forward 50, it's just putting all the pressure back on the Vikings. But credit to Nick Murray there, that's just great urgency. Game number 99 for Vikings, so again, just showing that experience.
Across all grades there, 99 for
yeah, 99 total. Wouldn't be able to tell you what he's got in first grade. He'd have a
fair chunk.
Yeah, he'd have a fair chunk in there. He's been around 7 or 8 years now, so
he's coming into that left wing spot where we saw JP Meinhardt score plenty of tries last year. Nick's doing obviously a fantastic job there, but a lot of tries coming out of the side there in Meinhardt not being in the Vikings this year.
Yeah, we've been quite fortunate with that left wing. Probably preceding JP Meinhardt was the great Jake Snake. For those that don't know him, he was the rubber man, pretty much unstoppable on that side. So, yeah, JP had a fantastic year last year. Just decided not to play this year, unfortunately for us.
Yeah, he was in massive, in a rich vein of try score form last year. But what's your playing status at the moment, mate?
I've just had a minor ankle injury in our pre-season game against Eastie, so I'm hopefully just missing this week.
Hope to be back next week?
Yeah, we'll assess it midway through next week. We then have the 2 weeks off, including bye and Easter, so bare minimum it'll be the week after that.
Well, Atkins, he's gone straight to Lonergan, and Lonergan will race away for a Vikings try. Oh, that's a tough moment for young Joel Atkins. He's been absolutely superb, but there we talked about it before, Andrew, just the wiliness of Ryan Lonergan. Just shot out of line, and it was a clean pick, a pick 5, we'll say.
And again, you can't really do too much as Atkins there. Unfortunately, that's just a fantastic read from Lonergan. And again, he's probably been saving that one for the entire first half.
Showed real gas as well to get there quick, and then absolutely no one got near him. Everyone was caught dry, and wow, what a moment with Gungahlin in the ascendancy, it has to be said, getting the better of most exchanges, and that's it. That's rugby, that's football. Anything can happen, but yeah, got to feel for Atkins, because as you say, can't really do much about that. I mean, he's playing the pass where it needs to go, but it's a perfect read, as you said. Absolutely perfect read from Ryan Lonergan, and I have to say, showed a clean pair of heels there as well.
Yeah.
Developed a bit of toe in the off-season, has Ryan Lonergan?
Not sure if it's been a key focus for him, but apparently he does it all.
Absolutely, as we see him lining up the conversion. Wasn't successful with his first one from out wide, but no mistake here, and huge moment in this game. Try for Ryan Lonergan and a conversion. 12 points to 15 here at Viking Park. 8 minutes into the second half. Again, we saw this in the first half. Gungahlin ship a try and come back to regain their momentum. But in terms of this game, look to see Vikings starting to establish themselves now. Lonergan, the try scorer, finds Alessio. He's got heaps of time to whack this one down into the Eagles' second half, and look out.
Yeah.
Fan, probably one of the few men who can take him down in one, Darcy Swain, and that's a great tackle from Swain. A leader's tackle from Swain, skippering the side today. Atkins. He'll want to just settle into his work now.
Big work from Fafita.
Great tackle from Vunipola Fafita, and he's on his feet, looking to spoil the breakdown. Great counter ruck from Vikings, and here's Jamie Field. Onto the Vikings 22. Jackson Hope finds Alessio. We've seen them interchange at 10 and 12 in attack on a number of occasions. The two playmakers for Vikings. Eagles lining up in defence as Wagner goes for another carry. He's been busy today. Lonergan to Swain. Oh, he can't hold on, but can Vikings recover? They can't. Another drop ball for Vikings, and there's a couple for Swain. It's plenty of great work indeed, but he'll want that one back, I think. Sets himself quite a high standard, does Darcy Swain.
Yeah, and again, you see the difference of Vikings almost taking on the Gungahlin characteristic of the first half, you know, that strong pressure and defence, then turning it into attack almost. So good turnover there for the Vikings.
It is, and we're just seeing some of their quality starting to shine through. Vunipola Fafita, I think, has been everywhere as a loose out prop, and that was a massive tackle from him there, getting onto his feet, getting over the breakdown.
Yeah, it just creates that opportunity for the rest of the Vikings to come in as well, you know, which ended up turning into a turnover.
It did, but as it happens, another little mistake from Vikings. That's probably been the story of their day so far. Plenty of good work, plenty of endeavour, but mistakes at the wrong times costing them and not being able to build phases. Now, we see Suavai dropping slightly for the kick here, so plenty of space for Gungahlin to attack. Not mentioned Josh Gillard a lot, but he's been organising things there with Huera. Have to say, Huera's been excellent. Just organising things, not much in way of attack, but in terms of kicking and organising things, he's been absolutely excellent there at 10.
Yeah, you can see that it's really reflected in the scoreboard as well, you know, just being able to direct everyone around the park.
They go down the blind side this time through Hansen and Atkins. Good pass to Ross, and he holds on, rolls for a few more. Huera gives to Brown. Got the key try to put Gungahlin into this lead. Huera again, we mentioned him. But again, Nick Murray up to the task. Great covering play from the left winger. Tweaky thought he might have had enough, but that's a fantastic kick. It'll be all about the bounce now. Will the ball hold up?
Just a little bit too long.
Drifts over. Half a Weet-Bix less, Andrew. That's what he needed. But as it is, it'll be a 22 to Gungahlin. Jeez, it was perfect, really, from Tweaky.
Yeah.
Spotted it, executed it, but just unlucky bounce. And these are the little measures that go into a game. I have to say, Nick Murray's been excellent in this second half, covering those kicks of Huera. He's onto them as Huera looks to change direction. Murray's been right up to the task.
Yeah, I think it must have been mentioned at halftime that, especially just trying to play that territory game, the Gungahlin Eagles, so probably a big work on for that back three.
Absolutely, and Vikings starting to win the territory battle. Wagner over the gain line, and now Swain pops to Fafita. He takes a couple, and he's still going, is Fafita. Lonergan, tough one to take there for Ikatau, but it's gone backwards, and Jamie Field. Plenty of great work from the young back row as well. Cleaning up as Swain finds half a gap, uses his feet to get over the gain line. Pass goes a little bit missing there, but Jackson Hope has a bit of time to step and weave, and he's still going, is Jackson Hope. Lonergan finds Corcoran, back inside to Wagner. Corcoran was levelled by Ioane. Impressive there from Corcoran to take that shot and keep going. And here he is again, is Corcoran. Elects not to offload. And Ikatau straight into Huera. Lonergan to Wagner. Met by his opposite number, Tom Ross. Fafita bumps off Fanukitau. Fanukitau looks to be in a bit of trouble there in back play, so Gungahlin currently down to 14 as Fanukitau makes his way back into the defensive line. Lonergan gives to Ikitau on his own. It's a good tackle from Helgson. Ball just spills out there, but it's well recovered. Lonergan marshalling his troops around as Vikings build the pressure. Lalesio gives to Hope, and Hope just trying to tease his way through that gap, but no dice. Tristan Stanley, who's been one of Gungahllin's best operators out there quietly, getting through his work as we see Swain get over the gain line again. Lonergan to where he's well met by Faranu. Huera is Angus Wagner, and he's forced to turnover has Huera. Big shot from the Brums fly half there on Wagner as Vikings look to be starting to just suck in a few numbers. I reckon another couple of phases there, Robbo, and they might have been in. There was space absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. When you just pile on that amount of pressure, you know, no team's going to be able to withstand it for too much longer. But yeah, you might have seen just the physicality there from both teams just jumped up another gear. Some very strong tackles, some very strong carries.
Absolutely.
Again, must have been mentioned at halftime that Vikings play a bit more direct, a bit more controlled.
Absolutely, and I think if Vikings can get through the phases a little bit more, those gaps will start to appear when they go wide through Jackson Hope and Lalesio and Ikitau. As we see Vunipola Fafita exit park, he was absolutely outstanding for the Vikings in his stint here, in his first stint for his new club. As you see, Ray Dobson also exit the field for Blood. He'll be replaced by his brother Nick Dobson, who had a really good game for Gungahlin Eagles in second grade, and they came away with a really impressive victory. That was a great game to watch, wasn't it? It was a back and forth affair with some serious quality out in the park for a second grade game. I mean, it was a jam-packed full of talent, and that just shows you the strength of this comp.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's good to see both teams being able to demonstrate that depth more than anything else through the club. And again, you know, Gungahlin were successful in closing it out.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that word depth. It was kind of the word of the day at the season launch on Thursday, at the Griffin Legal John O'Dent Cup season launch at Brums HQ on Thursday. And pretty much every coach stressed that depth was the key to winning a premiership in the John O'Dent Cup. And I have to say, well, it'll be tested now with Vunipola Fafita coming off the park, being one of the Vikings' better players. But that's Ben Pratt coming on for Vikings to replace him. He'll give absolutely everything for the Vikings cause, that's for sure. Jackson Duffy has been turned over here after strong carry, and that's Griffiths. As play continues, there might be a little bit of afters here. We'll come back to that as Lalesio plays to Twiki. Lonergan to Wagner. Wagner goes out the back to field, and he's there to recover. Not sure if there's no flag out at the moment, so it'll be play on. That's high from Small. It'll be an advantage to the Vikings. Lesio finds that man Wagner again on the inside. He's been absolutely everywhere, has the tight head.
Yeah, a bit of a point to prove out there as well, as we said, you know, against Tom Ross and Grey Dobson in that front row.
100% Wagner. As we've now, we will come to the touchline here. No refs ears today, unfortunately, but we'll wait on a key, could be a key decision here, Andrew.
Yeah, I wasn't able to see exactly what happened, but again, you know, another person going off the field at this time of the game.
Absolutely, with 25 to play, as we see Darcy Swain made a gesture towards the referee here that there may have been some punches thrown. We'll wait on the decisions here, as we say. Not able to hear the referee's comments at the moment, but definitely a deep conversation happening here. As we see the two captains awaiting the verdict as it is. With 3 points in it, with 25 to play, it's 15-12 to Gungahlin, 25 to play. This is crucial. Hogan. Referee Matthew Hogan, he's calling Josh Gillard.
Looks like Matt Hawke.
Looks like Matt Hawke.
Red card.
And it's red.
Wow.
Well, we weren't able to quite see and not quite to hear what happened, but you'd have to feel, Andrew, that there might have been a punch thrown there somewhere, and Matt Hawke's emotions just maybe getting the better of him there.
Yeah, again, not being able to witness it properly, I can only assume it was something severe. There was no dangerous tackle occurred.
No, it definitely seemed to be, as we said before, Darcy Swain certainly made a gesture as there may have been a punch thrown, but moreover, that's such a big moment in this game now. Gungahlin will have to play the last 25 with 14, and Vikings look to turn the screw now. If Gungahlin can hold on here, it'll be an absolutely epic win. Smart money will be on Vikings here now. Up one man with 25 to play. Eagles showed their might last year against Uni Norths, of course. Down to 13, nearly came back for a famous victory at ANU North Oval, but this is a massive test in round one for them, losing what is a talismanic figure in Matt Hawke as well.
Oh, just that experienced head out in that midfield as well makes all the difference.
Jackson Duffy and Josh Gillard, and Luke Duffy will have to work overtime now as you see Alessio find Oakman Hunt on the inside, and he scored! By his standards, he's had a quiet day, but that was a great finish from Michael Oakman Hunt. Got the inside ball from Alessio and just unable to be stopped that close to the line. Another and a huge score for Vikings to go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, again, as we just spoke about, Vikings had all the put on all the pressure there, territory possession, and then of course that extra man just again showing its difference already.
Absolutely, we definitely, and that was almost in that channel, almost as if it had to happen in that channel where Matt Hawke would be defending, and the big players starting to step up. I thought Darcy Swain after the drop ball had 10 minutes of absolutely outstanding play.
Yeah,
plenty of carries and plenty of leadership out there from Darcy Swain, and Michael Oakman Hunt, as we said before, was one of the best players in the comp last year for sure, and was a sub on the team of the year, but was unlucky to make that team of the year, and in the grand final and in the preliminary final as well last year against the Eagles. He scored 2 tries. He was absolutely everywhere.
Oh yeah, Michael, and Dean's actually here today as well, his twin brother. Fortunately not with Vikings anymore, but yeah, no, Michael's been fantastic. Anytime he gets on the field, he's been, again, prolific for Vikings. Probably more recent was his stint with the World 15 Barbarians.
Absolutely.
Managed to get a try there as well in the starting team. So.
Try scorer for Vikings and the whole world.
Yes, exactly.
As it is. His brother makes a mean flat wider here.
Oh, yes. Probably one of his more well-known skills on social media is his coffee making. So, especially up in Sydney, I know a lot of attention goes there. But
it's the other Oakman Hunt who's got Vikings into the lead here with a great try. His second in 2 weeks. The other one coming for the World 15, as we said before, as we see Eli Sinotti coming onto the left wing for Gungahlin. A man who is impossible to stop at times is Eli Sinotti, and joined by Tane Atkins in the back row. A young man who can really affect a game with his aggression. One of those coach killers you talked about before, Andrew. That's a penalty coming for Vikings straight off the kickoff.
Yeah, that new man that we just mentioned, Sinotti, as you said, plenty of experience, and again, a world of potential, but yeah, just a silly mistake from him.
Just over eager. Good messages there coming from Alex Small below, experienced hooker for Gungahlin, just settling everyone out there. He's one of those voices that'll have to come through for Gungahlin. He's very well respected in that group and very experienced player. Just trying to settle everything down.
Yeah, again, as we said before, there's still 20 minutes on the clock. It's not critical stages yet for Gungahlin, and 4 points of margin. It's not, by any means stress dangers or anything like that.
Absolutely not. But 19-15 with Vikings in the ascendancy after that try and the conversion from Lonergan, as we see Suvai go through a gap. Oh, it's been brought back for a forward pass. how important could that have been? Because Vikings looked away there. Robbo, absolutely away through Suivai.
Yeah, again, plenty of support on the outside there, but again, credit to Gillard, the captain there, hasn't had too much involvement today, just ball in hand, but again, making his presence felt.
He certainly made his presence felt to Jordan Jackson Hope there. Put a massive shot on the Brumbies centre.
Yeah, the presence might be there a little bit later as well.
I think there might be across the park here, the presence of this physical encounter will certainly be felt, the first one of the year. And I mean, preseason fixtures are one thing, but when you come into round one, the intensity is just different, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And again, you always like to try to perform to the absolute 100% in pre-season, but, everyone does have that sort of another gear that they can find come regular season.
With 20 minutes to go before we see the scrum. We'll just mention our great sponsors again. Griffin Legal, our naming rights sponsor. Han Superdry, Match of the Round sponsor. True Fit and Hill and PTP will be our man of the match sponsors, and we'll have a chat about that later. Robbo, I don't think we're actually naming it, unfortunately, but I reckon our recommendation will go a long way, mates. We'll have a chat about that later. Someone might be getting a fresh cut and a bit of training gear on our bat, so we'll see how that goes. Rourke Projects, McDonald's HT, O'Neill's and Poplars as well. Thanks to all our sponsors. You are watching the Griffin Legal John O'Dent Cup Round 1 on Bar TV Sports. 20 minutes to play, 19-15 to the Vikings. We're set up for a grandstand finish here. Asawera. Oh, a bit of a no-looker there to Sonotti. And Sonotti finds Hawera. Down the left-hand wing. Oh, I think if he'd offend Brown, he might have been into the corner with his pace, but as it is, it's Finucchi Tau.
Injury down for Vikings as well there. Looks like Ernest Silva.
Receiving treatment just below us here. Sonotti in a bit of space. Vikings down to 14 with Suivai receiving treatment. Can the Eagles get back in front here? That's Stanley. Atkins to Huera. Back to Atkins.
Brown, strong carry.
Atkins finds Huera and he's gone inside to Gillard. Is it a bit of space here as Josh Gillard? Has that ball gone to deck? It has. Just not able to hold on.
As soon as they started to get a little bit of momentum there as well, really started to build well there.
You'd probably look for him there just to hold on to, if he could. I don't know if he's trying to free up his arms there for an offload, but yeah, unfortunately, it was a nice inside ball, and Gillard, one of the first times we've mentioned his name's an attack, really. And looks to be in a bit of dramas himself, is Gillard.
As well as a few other backs as well, all of a sudden.
Dropping like flies here at Viking Park with the
Brendan Tweaky down.
Brendan Tweaky down there, I see. I think Lenny Cattell was receiving a little bit of treatment as we see Suivai. Definitely a concern, as is Gillard, for the Eagles. Well, it's no doubt it's been a physical encounter here, and plenty of reserves on the bench there from Gungahlin, as there is for Vikings, and I'm sure we'll see a few more join the fray soon. We've seen Tane Atkins have a few involvements on for Jake Helgeson for Gungahlin. Have to say, Joel Atkins has recovered from throwing that intercept as well. He's gone about his work as he was before. Very impressed with him all day today, making that step up.
Yeah, it's plays like that as well. You can't get too consumed on either. Especially at that pivotal position of halfback, you just got to be able to get on straight back into the role.
Does show great mental strength for such a young bloke as well, though, to just keep going. And as you say, you shouldn't, but there would be others that might, especially at such a young age, and he really hasn't. He's kept going with his work, and he's been an important player for Eagles, as you see, and another important player in Josh Gillard.
Yeah, that ankle looks pretty strapped up as well.
Yeah, a bit of strapping there, and he'll certainly want to stay out there being named first grade captain in your first year with a club tells a lot about the impact that he's had with the Gungahlin Eagles. Came down from, as I mentioned before, from the Wirringa Rats, played in the 2017 Shoot Shield Grand Final with the Rats against Sydney Unis that day. Wasn't the best of days for the Rats that day, but he was there, and he's an experienced footballer, and he's with the AFP as well, so don't want to mess with him on the field or off the field.
No, well, as we saw, we can ask Jordan Jackson-Hope just how physical he is, but yes, no, from experience last year as well, he's packs quite a punch.
Big minutes here, as they have been in this second half. Vikings will look to exit, as they have done pretty well all day long. Lalesio at the centre of that, but also Tweaky and Anikitau. Eagles, of course. We have to mention it again. Down to 14 for the rest of this game, having shipped that red card to Matt Hawke. When we look back on this game, I don't know if it hasn't affected it too much now, but it has to be said, losing a guy like that at the time, kind of scored down his channel almost. It's
exactly.
It's massive.
Especially, all you have to do is look at the scoreboard. You know, that 4 points already. You know, that's the entire difference of the game. And again, the longer the time that you're off, the harder it's going to be for Eagles to bounce back here.
You can almost see it, as we see in our picture here. You can just see the difference. Now, even in a defensive position here for Vikings, if they wanted to, they could shift it here with all that space out there. As we see a great scrum from the Gungahlin Eagles, and they've won a penalty.
Exactly what they needed there.
That's absolutely massive effort from Ray Dobson, Alex Small, Tom Ross, and the rest of the Gungahlin pack, turning around the scrum after getting handed it a few times in the first half, and they've called another.
Again, that just shows that enthusiasm that they have for that scrum. You know, now they want to take the attacking opportunity.
Hard to call him out for it, but definitely the difference in there. Losing Vunipola Fafita, he's a Super Rugby caliber player, and Ben Pratt will work absolutely all day in there for Vikings, but losing a guy like Fafita certainly changes the dynamic in there, particularly on that tight head side for Tom Ross. So, as it was a defensive scrum for Gungahlin. Now they have a chance, a glaring chance, a perfect chance to get back into the lead. Herrera steps one. He's in a gap here, and he's well held by Griffiths. Inches away now are the Eagles. Atkins buries for the ball. Goes close to Atkins, and he scored! How about that? The young man gets over for a try for Gungahlin. He'll remember that for a long time.
Yeah, well, he's cramping now for good measures as well. But yeah, it's well done. We just spoke about him recovering from that early play. And again, just showing his ambition for it.
Absolutely, and showing he can handle it in the rough stuff as well, picking and driving and sneaking over for a crucial try for the Gungahlin Eagles. Very impressive from Joel Atkins to recover from throwing an intercept try to his opposite number, Ryan Lonergan, and he's just going about his work. Absolutely fantastic from the young scrum half, and it was a big decision for Marco Caputo in his first game in charge as the Gungahlin Eagles to put a guy straight out of high school, as we see Herrera add the extras, to put a guy like that straight in at such a position of leadership and of playmaking. To put him in shows real trust,
and faith, you know, and for a lot of especially young blokes and Colts coming through, you know, that's exactly what they need. They need that bit of belief in them more than anything else.
And he certainly repaid the favour. He's marshalled the forwards around, and he's provided perfect service to Herrera, who's just pulled the strings excellently. Yeah, you see a couple of changes coming for the field. Who's that in for Vikings, Andrew?
24, that'll be Dean Wilson.
Dean Wilson.
Yes, no, it'll be good to see him get into some open space. He's absolutely electric.
Absolutely, he's come on for Suavai. As we said before, he was struggling a little bit with a slight knock. Also onto the park is Isaac Walker for Gungahlin. He'll slip into 10 with Herrera moving outside to 12. Walker got a cannon of a right boot and could come into play here with Gungahlin now leading 22-19, down to 14 for the last 13 minutes, with Matt Hawke going off with a red card as we see Lalesio find Wilson. Vikings right on, back on the attack as Ioane wins a penalty for Gungahlin.
Yeah, well, that looked like it was shaping up quite nicely for Vikings, but yeah, just lacked a bit of support, and again, Ioane straight in there. Couldn't deny him.
No, he's a big lump, is Ioane, and tough to shift, and did really well to just target the ball there as we see Walker go to the touchline. 12 minutes to play here at Viking Park. 22-19 to the Gungahlin Eagles, down to 14 men as we've said. Stanley gets a paw on that, and he's retained possession for his side as Atkins, full of confidence now, is the young halfback. He gets to ground. There's Tane Atkins. Jerome Brown gets past Jamie Field, and he's down by contact into the Vikings territory. Dobson.
Great tackle from Jamie Field.
Met well by Jamie Field. Ioane.
That's better defence from the Vikings. Pressure
Much better D
on
from the Vikings, from Corcoran. As you see Walker's kick goes straight out of touch, and there you see the difference when you get up in the line.
Yeah, well, it's probably been the message of the day. You know, the team that's been able to put on that pressure in defence in particular has come away with the benefit.
Interesting decision from Eagles to shift Herrera out of that 10 spot where he's been so effective at pulling the strings, and now he's just that one bit extra out, maybe not the person that will always see the ball. So probably had to do it with Gillard suffering from a bit of injury and Herrera being probably a little bit of a better defender than Walker, and Walker's boot being excellent, as we said, of course. But given Herrera's excellent game so far, could be a key point of difference as we see Griffith challenge his opposite number, Brown. Lucio finds Ikitau now. He's in a bit of space. Herrera's up to the task, but lets Ikitau slip, and the centre barges forward, and that's Wagner. One of many good carries from Angus Wagner today as we see Wilson. Oh, a bit of footwork for Wilson, and he's done Herrera down the sideline.
And Mac Hansen there with the turnover.
Yet again, Gungahlin using their dominance at the breakdown to just get out of trouble there.
Yeah, and again, you know, it's those sort of plays that, again, you know, potentially stopping a try or any sort of points on the field.
We see another change possibly coming here for Gungahlin. Looks like it's going to be Connor O'Byrne coming back into first grade after making his Gungahlin return earlier today in second grade. A very experienced first grade player is Connor O'Byrne. Was spent last year in Ireland playing over there, and he's come back in, and he's the type of leader that they might need out here in this last couple of 10, Andrew.
Oh, absolutely. Someone that has had that experience, and especially time away in Ireland. You know, it's just good to see him out there after suffering such a horrific injury the year before. Of course, yeah, he did have that horrific leg break in 2017. Did O'Byrne, so it's great to see him out there. That's a big collision there in midfield, but it'll be a scrum to Gungahlin, so they'll have another chance to exit. As we've seen before, the scrum under a little bit less pressure in this second half with Fafita's exit. Yeah, again, just another pressure relieving opportunity for Gungahlin here. You'd think that they'd look to exit here, just try to put the pressure back on Vikings a little bit.
It's funny, after I've said it, we see Herrera in this defensive shape moving back into 10. So perhaps he's looking to attack from 10, defend from 12. So you see Vikings looking to put that pressure on at scrum time. If they can just get a turnover, a penalty here, of course, could level things up or even go for the win. There's definitely a bit of a sense of worry here at Viking Park, at the home of the champions, the Vikings. Really good turnout today for this round 1 fixture, but see the Red Army a little bit subdued with 7.5 to play. Robbo, it's tense times here at Viking Park.
It is, and again, you know, most of it's come back down to our own mistakes, unfortunately. See Mac Hansen with a good carry.
Sonotti's been turned over there, and Wilson will have a chance to attack. That's offside, but come back for the scrum.
Lucky to get away with that one.
Yes, absolutely, and we saw Hansen just probing down that left-hand side, but Sonotti was met with good defence from Vikings, and Eagles choosing to run out of defence and play football instead of maybe looking to get down to the other end of the park. Probably knowing as well that this Vikings effort can score from absolutely anywhere.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I mean, it's probably just been a sort of the time that they need to change things up as well. It's been one of the main options is to kick and try to relieve that territorial pressure.
Too early to stop playing football here.
Oh, absolutely.
Just under 7 to play. Great scrum from the Eagles. Ball's there to be won, and it's Lonergan. That is absolutely outstanding from the Eagles on the counter ruck. They forced the turnover, and Walker now decides to plug the corners. But he has found Tuiki, and now there's a bit of space for the fullback. Beats Duffy, but he's not able to get motoring. Does find his feet and gets going forward once again. There's Jackson Hope. Thought he found a bit of space, but was met by Ioane. Lalesio to Wagner. Been one of the best for mine out there, has Angus Wagner all day. Been told to release, and penalty coming now for Vikings. Swain. Numbers here for Vikings if they can shift it. Jackson Hope off the floor to Ikitau. Uses his feet, and that's Darcy Swain. He's in here, is he, Darcy Swain? He scored! What a try for the Vikings. Stepped up when he needed him most. The captain, Darcy Swain, used that long lever of his to just sneak over for what could be a crucial try, what could be the match-winning try for the Tuggeranong Vikings.
Yeah, that's just great support play from the entire Vikings line there. You know, it was Jackson Hope that went through first, but again, Ikitau straight into Darcy Swain and Nick Murray on the outside as well.
It was absolutely incredible work from Jackson Hope, I think, there off the floor, to able to hook it around to Ikitau, and then thought he might have given it outside to Murray, streaking down the left-hand side, but as it was, found Swain, and still plenty of gas in the big lock with only 5 minutes to play here, and was just able to outrace the Eagles' defence. Hansen did really well, but just too good. Swain using that big long arm of his.
Exactly, you've got to tackle him about 10 metres out to actually stop him from reaching over.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been an up and down day for Swain, hasn't it? He's had some mistakes out there, but he's been a real leader in this second half. I think he's stepped up and he's shown why. He's someone that, of course, the Brumbies have invested in, signed a brand new contract during the week for the Brumbies. He's going to be around Canberra till 2022 at least. Yeah. Someone that I think is only coming into his own as a young lock.
Oh, absolutely. He's still so young.
You'd have seen his development, of course, here over his time, going from a colt to where he is now leading the side.
Yeah, well, exactly. You know, his first year in particular at Vikings, you know, he came down and only played minor amounts of football, was a volleyballer before that. But yeah, in the 12 months, you know, actually started to get some game time behind him, some knowledge. His potential is just massive.
He's a serious athlete for such a big man, and he's only growing, and he's got the key score here, but still time for the Eagles. 3.5 to play, and they have possession here, do they? There's a fight on the deck, but it's Ioane. He gives it to Atkins, and he finds Brown, but that's a great tackle from Luke Corcoran. Oh, it's a penalty. Ben Pratt around the side, and This is a massive opportunity now for Gungahlin to possibly come away with a famous victory at Viking Park. Corcoran. Gene up his mate there, Pratt. It was just a mental error there at the breakdown from the replacement loose head, but I have to say, Corcoran's been excellent as well at lock alongside Darcy Swain in his first grade debut.
Absolutely, and you know, it's just, again, he's had his moments of error as well, but you know, he's been able to rectify that more than anything else, so he should take a lot of courage away from that more than anything else.
O'Byrne takes the ball cleanly, can't set up the maul, but Alex Small able to sneak off the back. Jerome Brown met with a good tackle from Griffiths and Pratt and Darcy Swain. It's a maul. Turnover from Vikings. Absolutely brilliant from Griffiths and Swain together.
That's just smart defense as well, isolating that player and being able to hold him up.
It was all three, wasn't it? It was Pratt who went to the ankles, making up for his error at the breakdown before, and then Swain and Griffiths using that strength to hold up Jerome Brown, which is no easy feat, of course. As you see, Swain just down with a bit of cramp here. I think that's Matt Clifton to come on at halfback for the last few minutes here for Joel Atkins. What a performance from Joel Atkins in his Premier Rugby debut, in his first grade debut. Straight out of high school. Absolutely fantastic. He's got a long career with Gungahlin ahead of him.
Oh, absolutely. You know, he should be walking away from this game with his head held high, regardless of the result. He's had a phenomenal game.
We saw there things bubbling over slightly again. Didn't come to blows this time, but definitely, have to say, definitely excited for every meeting of Gungahlin and Vikings for the rest of this year. Definitely set a great tone for the Griffin Eagle John Dent Cup for the rest of the year.
Yeah, again, it sort of sets the platform for both teams as well as the matchup as well. So,
well, these are two of the teams we expect to be in the shake-up later on. So I reckon, you know, when we come to that finals time, this will be one of the games we talk about. How Vikings can probably get away with a victory here, not at their best. You see Wilson slice one there. So Eagles will have another shot. Oh, there's a bit of confusion on deck here. Touch judge had decided it was out, but referee overruling, and we've got play on here, and it's Mac Hansen chased by the whole Vikings team on his own, but he's done so well there, has Mac Hansen. Absolute chaos here at Viking Park to finish off. We're in the home stretch. There's a minute to go. Can Gungahlin come away with a famous victory? They'll need to go 50 metres if they're going to do it. Clifton finds Ioane.
Jordan Jackson.
But he's been, how good from Jordan Jackson Hope. That's such a key turnover now. How did he do it? He just managed to get the ball from Ioane. Impossible, but he's done it, has Jackson Hope, and perhaps has given his side a round one victory here at Viking Park.
Ryan Lonergan will just drive this pick and drive until the time's done, I think. Just that clock management.
Here we see the championship pedigree in the Vikings. They know how to win. Oh, the commentator's curse. As we see it, Jackson Hope is absolutely livid with his side. They've given the Eagles one more shot here. Have the Vikings. Oh, what a day it's been, Robert. It's been a great game, mate. I mean, results side, and whether it's Vikings who come away or Eagles get a grandstand finish, have to say, I've been really impressed with the Vikings in this second half, getting back into their football and putting the pressure back on the Eagles.
Yeah, again, just being able to find that structure more than anything else. You know, you can see the difference in this second half.
I think we've really seen, as I said before, there the championship mentality.
Yeah.
Guys out there who've won a premiership who know when stuff really goes wrong that they've got that wealth to go back to. They've got that experience to draw on, and I think that's been the difference so far. And as well, we have to mention the red card to Matt Hawke. Big turning point in this game. We'll have a reset here. We will reset the scrum. There was a big secondary push there from the Vikings after Gungahlin seemed to be putting on a bit of pressure. A try will do it. 26-22. We're in the red. Last play time now for Gungahlin. Interesting to see what they do. Of course, still a man down. Vikings giving them a natural attacking platform here with Ikitau dropping and Wilson. Definitely just a 3-on-3 on the right-hand side as we see Herrera flash to the left.
As Dean Wilson comes up as well, so maybe just a front more than anything else defensively.
Hansen slips through a couple, gets Eagles going forward. Stanley.
Angus Wagner, great defense.
Being told to release, but that was excellent defense from Wagner.
Great work, Corcoran.
Corcoran just couldn't put Ioane down at source, and he was able to offload it. Jerome Brown out the back door. Walker looks for support back inside. That's Nick Murray on the ball, is it? Dobson just looks to settle things here and get a bit of support around him. Eagles need to find some structure if they're going to break this Vikings line. Sonotti gives it to Stanley. Small. Great carry from the experienced hooker, and they're going for it now. Ioane just slips at the important time, and O'Byrne is level, but he somehow gets the pass away to Walker. Walker, oh, it's advantage coming now for a high shot. Looked like he was slipping down, but it's been adjudged high, and this is now a free shot. Herrera certainly makes his intentions known. They want to probably go to the corner here.
Yeah, absolutely. Use that advantage to their benefit.
Just as we're waiting for this lineup to come, who've been the standouts today, mate? As we said before, we're not picking the PTP Truffin Hill man of the match, but we'll have a bit of a say, I reckon. And who do you reckon have been on both sides? Who've been the standouts out there?
Credit to both halfbacks. You know, we highlighted them at the start of the game. You know, both have been very pivotal. But yeah, I'd have to put my name forward for probably Angus Wagner for Vikings.
Completely agree.
Absolutely been everywhere.
Absolutely.
Really stepped up.
Agree, but it could be in a losing effort if Gungahlin can get this maul going forward. The set is good. The backs will pile in. Is this a try? It is! What a moment for the Gungahlin Eagles! They've won it at the death. Down to 14 for 25 minutes. They've done it. They went to the corner and the maul was perfect, and it'll be Alex Small who's won it for the Gungahlin Eagles. The benches are empty. Everyone's on the park. Absolute scenes here at Viking Park. Oh my God, what a finish, Andrew.
Oh, just perfectly executed from the Eagles there. That maul just set it up perfectly, didn't rush anything. And again, you know, the momentum just took it over, set the platform for Alex Small.
Oh, it's tough times, mate. I don't envy you having to talk about it now as a Vikings man, but what a game. From a neutral point of view, what an absolute treat for round one, for the match of the round, for the Heinz Superdry match of round. A treat for us here.
As we spoke about before as well, it sort of just built as the game went on as well. You know, both teams finding their feet, finding their structures. I don't think either coach could really ask for anything more.
No, I think for Gungahlin, that's a famous win. An absolute famous win, and it certainly sets their stall out for what they want to be this year. They'll be looking now, thinking it's premiership. They'll be thinking they're right up there with the top, given that this is just an incredible effort. 25 minutes down to 14, and such a key figure in Matt Hawke, and to recover and come back and never give up. It's an amazing effort from them as Walker gets us to a close with a hell of a strike as the referee blows the whistle for full time. Oh, what a finish. 29-26 to the Gungahlin Eagles at Viking Park in round one of the Griffin Legal John Dent Cup. What a famous win for the Gungahlin Eagles against the champions Vikings. Mate, from a Vikings perspective, I suppose in some ways it's not been a great day at the office anyway, and they'll win, lose or draw here. I think Vikings would have taken this game and gone, there was a lot of work-ons, but I think that'll now give head coach Nick Scrivener, you know, a bit of data to say, basically, look guys, this is a new season, we've got to get back up to our efforts.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I think most of the analysis will come from that first half. as we spoke about as well, just wasn't crisp. There was that lack of structure. And again, we need to be able to turn up from that first kickoff and put things into practice.
Yes, and from an Eagles point of view, it's massive, and you'd be looking at them as real contenders now.
Oh, they were well and truly contenders before this game started, as we stated on paper. But again, that just solidifies it. Coming out, being able to put a performance in like that. 14 men for 25 minutes. That just can't be spoken of enough.
Yes, absolutely. And we said before, just given the result, we probably have to elect, from our point of view, someone to be our player of the game. And Angus Wagner absolutely was the standout for Tuggeranong, but can't look much further than maybe Joel Atkins, I think. Just as a young man coming in and marshalling his forwards around, he was superb there for the Gungahlin Eagles.
Yeah, Joel Atkins or Tristan Stanley as well.
Tristan Stanley,
didn't really do anything too fancy, but again, just got in there, did all the hard work. Again, probably didn't get enough credit for his efforts. And
he was still going there.
Absolutely.
Right until the 80.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have a week to recover, and we'll be back at Jemison Oval, the home of West, as the Lions face Vikings in their opening fixture of 2019. A perfect chance for Vikings to get right back on it and start climbing up the ladder and setting their stall out for 2019. It's a wrap from us here at Viking Park. We'll just run you through the results. In fourth grade, it was a big win for Vikings. Threes, 22-0 to the Vikings. Seconds, 33-1 for the Eagles, and that set a great tone for the Gungahlin, and in Colts, 26-14 to Vikings. Here in first grade, it's a massive upset. It's an incredible come-from-behind win. It's an epic grandstand finish for the Gungahlin Eagles. For Bar TV, I'm Ryan Murphy, alongside Andrew Robinson. Hell of a game, Andrew, and we'll be back next week. 29-26 to the Gungahlin Eagles.